Hi there, Serdar Yeglov here for InfoWorld at IDG. Today I'm going to demonstrate setting up and working with a very simple web application written in the Django framework for Python. Django is one of Python's most popular web frameworks. It offers just about everything you'd need to put together a powerful interactive website. Its biggest selling point is that it includes much of the low-level plumbing and wiring you'd normally have to cobble together yourself, things like user accounts and permissions, or database schema management. Django provides ways to do all these things, if not automatically, then at least with minimal hassle. To start off on our Django journey, I've created an empty project folder with a Python virtual environment set up and activated in it. Django is a complex application, so it's best to confine it to a virtual environment to keep it from cluttering up your default Python installation. To install Django, you pip install it the way you would any other Python package. Pip install Django. To confirm it's been installed correctly, type python-m Django version. This should return the current version of Django installed. When you start with Django, you'll first create what's called a project. This is an organizational unit that contains settings and database configuration information for one or more apps or sites within it. This way you can have multiple sites that share common information and tooling, but you can always just create a project with only one site in it, which is what we're going to do here. To do this, we'll use Django's built-in command line tools. So let's get a project started. Django-admin, start project, my site. You'll notice we now have a new directory named my site. When we run start project, it populates the Django project directory, in this case my site, with some scaffolding for a new project. Among the pieces included is manage.py, a generated script that lets you run management functions on the site. Let's use that to create the first app within the site, called my app. Py, manage.py, start app, my app. You'll notice we now have another folder within the project named my app. Now before we can go any further, we have to perform what's called a database migration. This is a piece of internal management used by Django to make sure that the database used by Django internally is consistent with the definition that we have for it. We're going to go into detail about how this works later. For now, we're just going to run what's called the migration script. This will make everything consistent. So python manage.py migrate. Now at this point, we can actually fire up our Django site and see what's there. To do this, we'll use manage.py's run server command. Py manage.py run server. If we navigate to the site's default page, we'll get a placeholder. Well, that's fine. We don't have anything our own in there, but at least we know this Django project is working properly. Now, we can start customizing the app we've created. First, we're going to create a simple view and URL pattern. A view is a function that returns output to the browser interacting with the site. Views for an application are stored in the views.py file inside that application's folder. We're not going to do anything too fancy at first. We just want to say hello world when someone comes to the root of our application. Most view functions contain a lot more logic than what you see here. They also can call other functions or do pretty much anything you want. They're just Python functions after all. But for now, we're just going to keep it simple. A URL pattern maps a view function to a URL, so the function's triggered when someone goes to that URL. The URLs for an application are stored in the urls.py file for that application. Note that we have to add the URLs to invoke our function in two places, in the app itself and also in the larger enclosing project. The project can just inherit all of the app's URL settings, so we only have to make one project level URL entry per app. This will save us some time. Now, when we run the server and navigate to our newly mapped URL, we'll see the hello world response. Watch what happens when we go to the project root. Nothing is mapped to it directly, so we'll just get this error page. We could always map this app to the root of the site if we wanted to, but I'm just going to leave it like this for now. Next, we're going to explore some of the database management functions in Django. A database in a Django project does more than just provide data to the apps that use it. It's also how Django's built-in user management system works. For the sake of this demo, we'll only be using the administrative user that's set up by default, but the users managed through Django can be part of any app that you write. Django can work with a variety of common databases, like MySQL or Postgres. Here we're using SQLite, included with Python, which is perfect for demo projects like this, and even works well for low-traffic sites that don't experience a lot of concurrency. First, we need to register our app with the project to use its database. To do this, we just edit settings.py in the project. Next, we have to create what's called a model for our site. A model describes the database objects used in the site, the tables, the fields in the tables, and so on. Right now we're just going to have one table, book, with a couple of fields, the name of a book, and the date it was produced. One more thing we'll need to do is register the tables we've created with the Django admin system. This way, we can manage the table directly in the admin page for our Django project. To do this, we just need to edit admin.py for the application and insert a reference to our newly created tables. Before we can do anything with our newly declared model, though, we have to create what's called a migration. This is a description of how to change the database we have now, which doesn't have any models in it, to match the models defined in our app. And we have to do that in a way that doesn't break everything else. Fortunately, we don't have to write this ourselves. Django does it for us with the make migrations command in manage.py. Python manage.py make migrations my app. When you run this, you should see a new directory in my app, migrations, with a file in it ending in 0001. Each migration, each set of changes that we make to the database, is recorded in a separate sequentially numbered file so we can migrate smoothly between schema changes. Now to apply these changes, we use the SQL migrate function in manage.py. Python manage.py SQL migrate my app 0001. Now, finally, we apply all of the migration changes that we've specified. Python manage.py migrate my app. Now both the database and our description of it are completely up to date with each other. Now we're going to make use of the database in a couple of key ways. First, we're going to create an administrative user for our site, which is going to be stored in the database, and which we will use to perform administrative functions, like adding data to the database itself. To create the admin user, we'll use the manage tool. Python manage.py create superuser. You'll provide a username and password, the latter of which will not be displayed as you type it. Now with that user created, we can go to the project's admin screen, log in as that user, and modify our database to add some data. Once we've added a few records, we can now change our application to use data from the database in an interactive way. First, we're going to add a route that takes in some data by way of the URL, in this case the ID of a book that we want to look for. Then we're going to look up the book in question and return its details in a web page. You'll notice that the URL mapping we're creating for this looks different. An item in brackets is essentially a variable retrieved from that part of the URL. The int means what we retrieve should be interpreted as an integer and not as a string. By default, variables returned from a URL portion are string. Each variable we harvest from the URL gets passed along to the function associated with it, in this case, book ID. We then use the book object we created in models to look up the book by way of that ID, and then use that to return data about it back to the user. One other thing worth demonstrating here. We don't have to jam all of our output back to the user into a string. We can create a template, a more free-form way to generate a web page and return the data to the user, including the data we've retrieved from the database. Templates in Django have very little logic in them. They're used mainly to display information we've already processed. But we're not doing very much processing here. We're just displaying the book information, so this template is going to be pretty straightforward. Once we've created the template, we place it in the templates directory in our app. Then we rewrite our function to use the render built-in in Django to take the template and render it with the data that we're passing along to it, in this case the book object that we've looked up. What we've covered here is only the very basics of Django. There's still a great deal more than I can cover in the space of a single video. But you should now have some idea of how a Django project is put together, maintained, and organized. Thanks for watching this video. If you have questions, please add a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe to the IDG Tech Talk channel on YouTube, and for more Python tips, be sure to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Infoworld.com.